Hello. I was thinking today that I would just chat with you guys about what it's like to be a self-taught artist and my personal journey to get to where I am today. I'm gonna be working on my 8x8 wood panel that I got from Washington D.C. They asked a lot of local artists to make these panels that they're gonna have in their winter show. I've already made 2, but I was thinking that I would make a couple more, and this time I'm gonna be making it white. If you're a self-taught artist as well, I'd love to hear what you think in the comments. I wanna start this story with talking about how I discovered mosaics in the first place. Senior year in high school, I went to see Isaiah Zagar's Magic Gardens in Philly. It's about 40 minutes from where I lived at the time, and I was just completely in awe with the beauty of that place. It was completely decorated in mirror, broken bottles, old tires, rusted objects, different ceramics that he had made. I loved it, and I had to figure out how to make it on my own. When it came time to choose a high school commencement project, I proposed to make a mosaic. When it was accepted, I started to learn how to make my own mosaic, mostly by Googling, but also by going to my local hardware store and asking for a lot of help. This high school commencement project ended up being about 2 feet by 4 feet, and I actually have a YouTube video on my high school's YouTube channel that you can view, and I'll link that below. The YouTube video is slightly embarrassing, but to be honest, it also is really fun for me to look back on because I can see where I was at that point. That was definitely the very beginning of my journey. After that first mosaic, I just kept making pieces in my free time. On winter and summer breaks, I would come home and work on different mosaic projects. When I got my first full-time job as a graphic designer, I had a bit of an existential crisis in that I wasn't sure how to spend my free time. You know, I would get off work and then I would just be like, what now? Do I just watch TV? Do I just watch YouTube? Very Danny-esque fashion, I decided that I would embark on a challenge. I would create 30 small mosaics in 3 months. I bought 30 6x6 panels and a bunch of colorful stained glass and decided to post my progress on Instagram. I made a separate Instagram so that I wouldn't have to flood my personal account with different progress photos. This was my first time working with colors that weren't blue, green, and mirror. It was super inspiring to me, and my mind just started to bubble up with different ideas that I could do. I also no longer had to worry about all the cuts that I used to get because I wasn't working with broken bottles anymore. The way that stained glass breaks is so much more clean. This challenge was the real catalyst of my art journey. I was finally giving my hobby the time and energy and also the money that could enable it to grow. I started getting up at 6 a.m. so that I could work on these mosaics before work, and I started to meet other mosaic artists online. Eventually, people started to reach out to me to buy my artwork, and I started to even show in local cafes. This was all leading up to the big mosaic. I was getting tired of doing 6x6 mosaics and wanted to work large. Tired of doing small mosaics and wanted to work larger. So I bought some plywood measuring about 48 by 30 inches and started working on that. This piece truly changed everything for me. I remember wiping away the grout, feeling truly connected with everything. I was in the flow. The way I think about the flow is similar to the scene in Nemo, where Nemo's dad, Marvin, and Dory are with the sea turtle and they're about to jump into the current. The sea turtle's like, you gotta jump in the current. Like, it'll be fine. Just jump in, everything will be good. And the little turtle's like, come on, the water's fine. And they're just like, that looks terrifying, that looks awful. And they finally jump in and everything just starts moving. They start running, it's super fun. Everything starts moving so fast. And that's what I feel like happened after I made this 48 by 30 inch piece. Everything started to click. I started to realize that this should really be my focus and that this is what makes me feel aligned. Finishing this big piece really gave me the confidence in mosaic making. I finally felt comfortable calling myself an artist because I felt incredibly proud of my work, and I also just felt like this is what I'm supposed to be doing. As time went on and I kept making more and more mosaics, it became increasingly more frustrating to work out of my one bedroom. I was working with glass shards and everything was all over the carpet. I felt embarrassed to have people walk into my bedroom because I knew that they might get cut. I started to look at studios and eventually reached out to 52 O Street for the second time to see if they had anything available. They had something available, but it was slightly too much money. And I went home feeling really stressed about what I should do. I didn't have enough money to pay for a full year at the studio space. My savings, if I were to wipe them out completely, could probably get me to about 6 months. But I felt called to do it because I knew that I had to keep making work, and I knew that I needed to make my work bigger and better. So I decided to sign the lease and go with it and hope that I could make it to a full year. That was my goal. About a month after signing the lease, I got a new job. That job gave me enough money that I could afford the studio without having to worry. Being at 52 O Street was a big game changer because I was able to meet so many other artists. Across the hall from my studio was another studio that had a lot of art shows. I was able to meet so many artists through going to those shows, and a lot of people at those shows ended up wanting to peek at my art. So I was able to kind of show off my art as well. To wrap up my story and bring us to the present day, about a couple months ago, I ended up deciding to release my studio and move into an apartment where I could work and live. Lean into what calls you. If there's a certain hobby that you've been thinking about doing, I encourage you to do it. It may not lead to that becoming your purpose or your side business, but let me tell you, when you invest in yourself, the universe hears that. You know, when you choose you and you bet on you, the universe comes together and puts you into that flow state and things start working for you. I also hope that whatever hobby that you do embark in, you actually give it a chance to thrive. For a while I was making mosaics just casually every now and then. I wasn't trying to get better at making mosaics and I wasn't really taking myself seriously. But when I finally invested the money and most importantly the time to getting good at my craft, whatever good means for you, that's when everything started to change and that's when the ball started to roll. So I encourage you to give yourself a challenge, or maybe just give yourself a little bit of time every day to do whatever is calling you. You don't have to post it and you don't have to monetize it. It can just be for you. I hope you enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun filming it and I had a lot of fun talking about my journey. It's kind of fun when I get to put the pieces together and I can step back and look and see where my journey has taken me. So please let me know in the comments if you have any ideas for me or if you want me to elaborate on anything, and give this a like and subscribe. Thank you, bye.